The court accepts the witness of God. It's about time they accept the existence of the devil. Have you abandoned your desire for movies with haunted, terrifying houses? Then you are in the right place, since we offer you an investigative thriller that will give you goosebumps every now and then, and you'll watch it with one breath. I'm happy to inform you that The Conjuring number 4 is on the way, and this one will be much different and much better. Now, let's start with a short recap. It's official. The Conjuring 4 is in the works with the producing duo Peter Safran and James Wan, and with David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, The Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It writer. Having penned The Conjuring 2 and the previous movie, Johnson McGoldrick is a Conjuring veteran, the latter of which opened up at number 1 at the box office in 2021, which brought huge financial success and pushed the franchise to over $2 billion worldwide. James Wan confirmed that his Conjuring Universe counterpart, Vera Farmiga and Wilson, will both return for the sequel. In 4 movies within Wan's Conjuring Universe, they have starred as paranormal investigators Lorraine and Ed Warren. Now, before I move on, I want to speak a little bit about the third part. After so many spin-offs and prequels, it was about time to see the third Conjuring installment. And this one, I won't say. It was a typical horror movie, like The Nun or Annabelle, with varying degrees of scares, skill, and smarts. As a horror movie that can't be bothered to stick to its well-known origins, this installment manages to operate to some degrees as a mediocre police thriller, but one with too many incidents within harrowing incidents and suspects, though there is a confusing tone added to that mysterious serial murder case. But nobody wants the new The Conjuring to be downgraded anyway, when its original predecessor is still one of the most frightening, terrifying, and the most brilliant horrors of the 21st century. The storyline circles around Lorraine and Ed Warren, paranormal investigators who have a based on a true story case. This time, they were dealing with one of their most heavy battles with evil. It all takes place back in 1981. The Warrens exorcised a demon from David Glatzel, a young boy from Connecticut, but during the exorcism, it transferred into Arn Johnson, a local boy, who then went on to murder his landlord. One too many recognizable visual nods to The Exorcist, right? Our investigators soon uncover similar crimes that took place in the area, so they're on a quest to prove that Arn was actually possessed while committing the crime. It was noticeable that the screenwriter threw in plenty of the Conjuring Universe references, including some quotes from Annabelle as well, but we can still feel that the story struggles with a strange on and off rhythm, which in a moment feels episodic as the Warrens venture out into the forest, collaborate with customary religious figures, and team up with the local police to follow the devil's tracks. The main idea loses its clutch on the audience and gets overstretched and overstuffed, especially with a connected murder case between 2 girlfriends, which, in a way, distance itself from the main event. The thing is that you might run out of reasons to care for their mission. Whatever I say, or the critics as well. The fact is that Farmiga and Wilson are probably hitting that like button just like you should if you haven't done so already. No, really. Farmiga and Wilson are probably the most iconic figures of contemporary horror. So, a conclusion. Is it worth watching The Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It? Definitely, yes. But I want to stop talking here about the previous movies and focus on what is coming next. The 4th Conjuring movie is on the way, so let's talk about its release date and the cast list. The Conjuring has become the highest grossing horror franchise, with the films having a combined budget of only $178 million, and it is also one of the most successful franchises in modern media. Right at this moment, another Conjuring Universe spinoff is at work. Earlier this month, The Nun 2 just entered production in France. It is very likely Chavez could take up the mantle once more, even though no director has been confirmed yet. Between the first 2 movies, there was a 3-year gap, and then 5 more years to The Devil Made Me Do It. As I said before, The Nun 2 is in development, and it will be released on September 8, 2023, which means we could expect Conjuring 4 probably mid to late 2024. Now, about the cast. I'd be amazed if Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson weren't back as Lorraine and Ed Warren, because what's the point without them? Luckily, they would be happy to jump in at every moment, so it won't be a case of persuading them to return. In their most recent interview for Digital Spy, they said, "Oh my god, I'd love to continue," Farmiga said, with Wilson adding, "We constantly want to push these characters. I would like to for no other reason than I would want to keep playing opposite Vera. It is really hard to predict who else might return, especially since the third movie didn't feature many crossovers. Shannon Cook also returned as Drew Thomas and Steve Coulter as Father Gordon. But Sterling Jurin's reprising his role as Judy Warren was the most interesting thing to see. All of them could be back in the fourth movie as well. Let's see what happens. Let's take in mind that the fourth outing would cover an entirely new case, so that might mean a completely different cast. Now, the important question: what will be the main focus of the fourth movie? Every single Conjuring movie focuses on a different Warren case, so this one will stay on that track as well. There is an expectation that The Conjuring 4 will take place after 1981, the timeline after the trial of Arn Johnson concludes, or where the third movie ends. There are still some very interesting cases and real-life experiences of our investigators, which could see them head back into a haunted house, and that could be used as a basis for a new movie. And when you know that the movie is based on a true story, the feeling is much different, right? We are all a little superstitious. We might not carry salt with us all the time, but we can all relate to hearing old sayings. For example, we all have lucky sweaters, lucky numbers, and little idiosyncrasies that we've picked up from our families, cultures, or experiences, or even beliefs. Like a red sky in the morning might make us expect bad weather, and a red sky by night, sailor's delight. Even if you don't put yourself in the category of superstitious people, you might get a little nervous if you get to a place that everybody says is haunted. Warren has investigated over 10,000 cases, but some left a huge mark on their lives. The Smurl haunting and the Snedeker house haunting is a possible plot for this movie. Both houses were supposedly haunted by demons. One more case that made them very famous at that time is smashing that subscribe button and hitting that notification bell. No, really, in all seriousness now. The Legend of the White Lady was the case that made Warrens famous. I'm getting goosebumps just saying it. The case about the Union Cemetery in Easton, Connecticut. Warrens even have live footage of the phenomenon. No doubt, the Conjuring movies are much different than any other horror movies. Even the actors who played the Warrens were strongly affected by the dramatization and the case itself. Right after the third movie was released, we could hear different stories coming from the actors and the crew. Some things happened during the production, and it is too creepy to be just a coincidence. Vera Farmiga certainly felt a weird presence, even though she professed herself to be a clairvoyant medium. Found herself repeatedly and mysteriously walking between 3 and 4 in the morning on set. Mysterious claw marks on the wall, on the computer screen, and many other things. And what do you think? What is your theory? Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.